Have you ever gone back and looked at your own portfolio from like a year or two ago and you took a solid look at it with fresh eyes and you kind of went, what the hell was I thinking? Well, don't worry, that has happened to all of us. And that's because we're emotionally invested in our own work and we really can't see the flaws that should be right there in front of us. Which is why these image critiques are super important, because sometimes somebody with fresh eyes can come along and see the things that you just simply can't see because you're too emotionally invested in the image. And when they do, they point it out. And it's one of those things, once you see the mistake, you can't unsee it. And you've just made forward growth, right? And forward growth happens more if you do things like image critiques or portfolio reviews, and you do a lot of them. All right, that is my advice for all of you who are just beginning, is to go ahead and have people look at your work with fresh eyes and let them, I guess, very gently rip it apart, right? That's how you're going to grow faster. So today we're going to go ahead and rip apart some images, but we're going to do it very carefully, tactfully, and we're going to go ahead and do it with constructive criticism in mind. Now, having said that, I do invite all of you to play along at home. If I am going through an image and there is an error that you see that, well, I didn't, go ahead and let's talk about it in the comment section down below. But remember, please, for the love of God, keep it constructive. Let's not dash anybody's hopes and dreams of becoming a professional photographer. So the first image that we're going to look at today is from Sandra D Photography. And right away, the very first issue, I think we all can agree, is that the image is overexposed, right? We're using flash. I can see that in the reflection of the child's eye. You can see the reflection of the flash there. So I know we're using flash. And I think we just put too much power out of that flash and it overexposed the child. So what I would recommend is picking up one of these. This is a light meter. This is a Sekonic L358. It is busted up and battered because I've had this thing for about 10 years. But the minute I picked up a set of strobes, I made sure that I picked up one of these. And it really helps you learn how to, get a proper exposure. And after years of using one of these and practicing with one of these, I no longer need to use it because my eye has now been trained to what proper exposure looks like. Now back to Sandra's image. The second thing that I'm seeing is that flash must have been directly over Sandra's shoulder because it's very flat. It's coming in very flat to the child, and it's washing the child's features out. I mean, it's just straight up flat lighting. Now, the way that you avoid flat lighting is with a little something I like to call the wonky unicorn. Let me grab my unicorn horn here. And in this particular photo, we are shooting, this looks like a regular unicorn. Now, take this horn and you follow it. Where the horn points is where the light is. Okay, so in this particular instance, the light's coming straight this way. It's because Sandra is shooting a regular unicorn. What she needs to be shooting is a wonky unicorn. You need to slide that horn just slightly over and slightly up, kind of like a very special unicorn. Now, no matter where I point my head, the horn is going to point to where the light needs to be. And when it comes in from that direction, it will create a little bit of highlight. Like pretty much this light right here, I set it using the wonky unicorn. And it's going to go ahead and highlight this side of my face. It's going to let light fall off. There's going to be contours, and you won't have flat lighting. So if you ever wonder where to put the light, just remember wonky unicorn. Sandra, great job on the set. Great job on the wardrobe. Let's just work on that lighting a little bit, and you will be knocking it out of the park in no time. Okay, so next up is a Toy Story image, and right away we have some issues. It looks to me like this was lit by natural light, perhaps a window. We've got some really, really strong shadows here, so there looks to me like there wasn't a whole lot of light going on. So I'm going to guess that this was lit by window light. Now, my first bit of advice would obviously be, work with flash whenever possible. But if you don't have flash available, let's say you're a mom or a dad at home doing this, by yourself, and you don't have a photo studio. What I would do is I would find a sliding glass door instead of a window, I would find maybe you go outside and set something up like this on your deck or on your patio. Um, I would find a bigger light source. That would be the first thing that I would do. This, if this is a window, it's a very small one. So, and that's what's creating the really hard shadows. The smaller the light, the harder the shadows. Which is why us smash cake photographers, we like really big. I personally use a 5 or a 7-foot flash modifier when I do this because I want that smooth transition from highlight to shadow, and I want it to be soft. And what we have here is just very, very hard light. Now, the next thing that I see is the color balance is off. Whenever you use like a blue backdrop, like what we have here, it throws a color cast. Not only that, but when you are using natural light tends to be blue. And if you have your camera set to a white balance that is, incandescent, for example, it makes all of your interior lights less orange. And then you go ahead and you shoot something like this, that could also throw off your white balance. It can make things appear more blue. But my guess here is that we use natural light. It was a cloudy day. And then not only that, but you also have a lot of that light bouncing off of a blue background, throwing a lot of blue light around. And we can see that in the skin tones of the child. Now, I don't want to completely trash this image because it is a great start. You've got all of the characters there, big fat bonus points for including Forky. Camera right, he's kind of back there, my favorite character, so thank you for including him. He gets no love. But honestly, you've got a great set. You've got all the characters, you've got all the toys, you've got just about everything you need. You got the cowboy hat, the banner, the whole thing. It's a really, really well done. It really is. It's just the lighting kind of let you down a little bit. So if you're going to continue doing this and you want to really just knock it out of the park, all you need is a 5 or a 7-foot lighting modifier and a beginning studio light like the MS300 by Godox. That would be a great way to start. And you have everything else you need. So, I mean, well done. Great job. Don't be discouraged. And remember, this is constructive criticism, and it's coming from a place of respect, one photographer to another. Today's third image comes from Jocelyn Sierra Photography, and let's go ahead and look at it. I'm seeing some issues with set design here. Really good job on the exposure. All the basics are there. I see set design is kind of, it's kind of really letting you down a little bit. The first thing that I really like to do when I design a set is I like to put the child in the center, right? That's where I start, and then I create a little bubble, a little vignette around the child. And then I build the next layer so that it slightly overlaps, and then bring in the next layer and the next layer. What we have here is all of the components, the tent, the balloons, everything's jammed up in one spot. There's no layers, right? When you design a set, you want to design it with a foreground, a midground, and a background, and you want to have those layers. And what we have here is, the balloons, the tent, the stump, it's all just mashed into one area, and it just looks cluttered. And more importantly, the child gets kind of lost. Now, the other thing that I see that I really, is not my particular style is that we have a lot of warm tones in this photo, right? The balloons are orange and yellow, and there's some greens there, but there's a lot of warm tones in there. And then the number one balloon is silver, right? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I would have gone with a gold number one balloon, and those number one balloons they're tricky, right? The wind gets a hold of those, especially outside, and they spin. But what I would have done is made the string shorter. I would have brought it down a little bit and used a gold one so that number one wasn't cropped off in the photo. Now, the last thing that I want to address in this photo, and feel free, guys, if you see something else that you want to start a conversation about, that's what the comment section is down there below. I'll jump in there with you guys and we'll chat it up. But the last one that I'm going to mention today is that green blanket or rug that's on the ground. And it's just too close to the colors that are already there, but not close enough. I mean, I wouldn't put a green rug out there. I would go with a contrasty rug, maybe a brown or orange or something other than green, because if you can't match the ground exactly, then don't try. don't put a green one down there. It just looks weird to me, and that's my professional opinion. Is the word weird? It looks like you tried to match it, but you didn't quite do it. You know, it just looks like a mistake. And again, my own personal opinion. So yeah, go with a brown or go with a different color blanket next time. I really don't appreciate the green, but you guys might have a different opinion. So go ahead and, again, comment section down below. All right, so I lied. I'm going to go ahead and do one more. Speaking of green things, that green blob, that pom-pom on top of the tent, it is driving me bananas because it is massive. And it is bigger than the child's head, and it's just drawing attention away from the child. And I just, yeah, I really don't like it. So the green rug and the green pom-pom, in my opinion, have to go. Okay, everybody. Well, my name is Daniel Troutman with thesmashcake.com. This has been a lot of fun. And if you want that fun to continue, of course, there are other videos right about there, somewhere up in this region here. Go ahead and click on one of those and we'll keep this party rolling. And until next time, guys, thank you so much for spending your time with me this week. And I'll see you in next week's video. Bye-bye.